Hello, my name is Nitin Pradhan, and I'm the co-founder of Career Trajectory. Career Trajectory is a digital college prep program for US and international students who want to study in the US for colleges and universities. One of the unique things about this program is this program is run digitally and it's self-paced and it's broadcasted over the internet, so you can take this anywhere around the world, and it's very, very affordable. And today what we are going to do is we are going to specifically have a small workshop for South Korean students and parents who want to send their children for studies in US for either a bachelor's degree, master's degree, or a Ph.D. degree. Now remember, this program is specifically for South Korean students and parents. So if you are one of those, please watch this program very carefully. So what we are doing in this series of programs is we are actually taking the top questions that international students, especially students from South Korea and other regions around that area, are asking us about study in USA. And we are taking some of these top questions and we are answering them here so that you can get a first-hand feel of what's happening. So let's get started. Now, before I get further into this, I want to talk a little bit about the ScaleUp USA program. So the ScaleUp USA is a digital business and career growth accelerator program. It's actually set up in Washington, D.C. metro region, and we actually broadcast our program over the internet, globally and in USA. And we have several programs here, but the specific topic here today is Career Trajectory, a college prep program. And what we're going to do in today's workshop here, which we're going to actually set up and publish on YouTube, is that we're going to talk about specifically a couple of different things. We're going to talk about the cold facts and hard truths about some of the issues that South Korean students face when they come to the US. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We are also going to make sure that we are not talking any fluff, no nonsense here. We're going to get into some in-depth areas. These are actual questions that students ask us. So these are questions that are going to be important for students and their parents. And as I said earlier, these are going to be specifically for South Korean students and parents. And the reason we are sort of doing the parents activity here, because if you're going to send a student to study in the US, you're going to need a lot of money. Most of the times, students don't have it, so parents are going to subsidize the students. And that's why we want to make sure that the parents are comfortable. And what we are also going to talk about are a number of resources. Many of these resources are free. Many of these resources are premium resources. And all you need to do is to check down below the video. There are lots and lots of resources that we're actually going to put in the YouTube notes section. So you can actually go out and check out these resources. And I think this program, along with these resources, is going to make it a very comprehensive activity for South Korean students and parents. So let's get started on it. Now, before I get any further, what I want to do is I also want you to subscribe to a couple of our channels, because we keep on adding more stuff and you might actually like a lot of this stuff. We have a YouTube channel. That's where this program is actually running. So you should actually subscribe to that. There are a whole bunch of other programs there on YouTube which are also very in-depth. So you should actually check them out. We also have a Facebook club called Study Abroad Club. Again, the link is here. And in that club, what we are doing is we put out the latest articles coming out in US media about study in US. So you sort of get a feel of what's happening in US, and that might be, again, a good educating point for you. And then finally, we have the ScaleUp USA Accelerator. And within that accelerator, we have the Career Trajectory program. We have a free program. We have a paid program. The free program is foundational. The paid program is very comprehensive. You should check out both. Again, the way you go to this is ScaleUp USA, and then just check out, Career Trajectory. With that, what we are going to do is now actually go in and start talking specifically about South Korean students in US. So first and foremost, I want to give you the lay of the land. So US has roughly about 19 million to 20 million students who are studying in colleges and universities here. So that's the ballpark number, 19 to 20 million. Of those 19 to 20 million students studying in US colleges and universities, roughly about 1 million students are of international origin. That's right, 1 million students. And just to give you a context of that, that number is so large that if you add up all the international students in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK combined, that number is lesser than the million students that are studying in the US. And that number has steadily gone up in the last 1 year or so. It has gone down slightly, but generally that number has been going up for the last 10, 20 years. Of this million or so international students, South Korean students form roughly 54,000 of them. Now, you need to note that South Korea as a country is very small, the population is very small, so the 54,000 number is very, very high. So obviously, for South Korean students and parents, US is a prime destination. And as you can see, that's probably the right thing because South Korea sells a lot of high tech into US. There are lots of South Korean companies doing very well in US. And so in the grand scheme of things, US becomes a very popular destination. And we expect that more and more South Korean students will actually come to the US. Now, a couple of other statistics on South Korean students. So the percentage of South Korean students as a percentage of international students is about 5%. And that's about right. There are roughly about a million international students. About 54,000 of them are South Korean. So that's about 5%. Now, here's another statistics to note. Change over previous year. So the percentage of students coming from South Korea over the last 1 year fell by about 7%. It's unclear why that number has fallen. Maybe it's a dip. Maybe there are some, economical issues in South Korea. Maybe there are some other issues relating to, the administration or change in administration. Unclear what it is. But that number has fallen. But we expect that number to go back much, much higher. And if you look at the number of countries that are sending in, students into US, China is the number one country which is sending the most amount of international students. They're sending about 360,000 students each year. But again, China is a very, very big country. The number two country is India. India has been sending about 196,000 students in US currently. That's the number that's there. And then South Korea is number three. So again, very high up there. So all in all, South Korea finds US as a very attractive destination to send their students, there for studies. And again, they're coming in for all kinds of things, bachelors, masters, Ph.D. And so with that, what we are going to do is we are now going to get into questions one by one. We have about 10 questions that we are going to go through. Some of these questions have a number of resources attached to it. You will know about that because we will say there in the question that there's a resource. The resource number is going to be there. You can then go into the bottom section of this video, just below the video, and you will see the notes section for YouTube. And there you should be able to see the link for this video. So you should actually go out and check them out. So with that, let's get started with the questions. Let's now take the number one question that we get. And this is a question which says, why should I come to the US for studies? Obviously, if you're an international student, you have an option to study in a number of different countries. You could study in Canada, you could study in Australia, you could study in New Zealand, you could study in China, you could study in Russia. You can study in all kinds of places. So why should you study in US? And there are so many reasons why you should study in US that I could actually take a day just discussing this topic. But I'm going to spend couple of minutes trying to give you some overall strategies of why you should study here. First and foremost, US has over 4,500 universities and colleges. Most of them are exceptional. Our program, Career Trajectory, actually suggests that you actually study in the top 300 colleges and universities. And if you actually get into the Career Trajectory program, we can actually tell you which these are and how do you really access them. But there are really great universities and colleges. We recommend that you go to the top 300 for your education if you are coming to the US. And there are really no other countries around the world which have the kind of colleges and universities that US has. That's reason number one. Reason number two is that US has over 1 million international students. There are more international students studying in the US than Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, all combined. And because there are over 1 million international students, the procedures, policies, and other setup to support international students is really, really exceptional. The third thing that I will tell you is that the US universities have figured out the right formula for a mix between education and entertainment and actually keeping the students happy. So if you come to international students as an international student and come to the US and go to some of these universities, you will have a great and a fun experience. You will have the opportunity to meet students all over the world, and you will build connections that are going to last you a lifetime. Plus, having studied in US gives you a global brand, so you can find jobs not only in US but internationally. Now, of course, once you study in US, you also get what is called the optional practical training opportunity, where you can actually work for a couple of months in US. And after that, you can also apply for H-1 visa, which is a temporary visa. And from there, you could potentially get your green card. And from there, you could get a citizenship. So the process, if an international student comes in and actually wants to stay in US, is fairly clear. Now, of course, there's a lot of competition there. There's some backlogs there, but the process is clear. Lots of people have gone through it, and you can too. Now, finally, one of the other things why you should come to the US is because the US is an economic and a military superpower. Its economy is humming along fine, and there are lots of very big companies in tech and non-tech that are doing exceptionally well. In fact, most of the tech companies around the world are actually headquartered in US. Look at Apple, look at Microsoft, look at Google, look at Facebook. You can go on and on and on. So that is why your chances of actually succeeding in your life and your career exponentially increase if you actually study in US, and that is why you should consider coming to the US for studies. Let's go to question number 2. And this is a very important question for students and parents. And the question is, am I welcome in the US? So let me give you a little bit of history here, and then let me take on this question. So I've actually been in the US for almost 30 years now. And during that time, I've seen various cultures from around the world come in and settle in the US. I've seen Indians come in, I've seen Chinese come in, I've seen Filipino come in, I've seen Japanese come in, Europeans. Every nationality is actually coming to the US, and they're actually melding in, and they have become a really great melting pot that's made US the great success that it is. And during this time, there have been both illegal immigration and legal immigration happening from around the world into the US. And that has grown and grown and grown. Now, what has happened recently is with the Trump administration coming in, they have started clamping down on the illegal immigration that's happening in the US. They're fine with legal immigration. And if you're going to come and study in the US, you are going to come in the legal route. And the Trump administration actually is very interested in getting skilled migration going. So if you're going to come in and study in US universities, you're going to get more skilled. And that's the kind of immigration that they are looking for. So to answer your question, if you are a student who is coming for higher studies here and you're coming by a legal route, that means you're going to be very welcome in US. And of course, if you look at the universities and the college towns and the communities, they are very welcoming of students around the world coming to the US because they add wealth and culture to these particular localities. So I can tell you that you will be welcome in the US. Now let's look at question number 3. This is a very important question. And the question is, what common mistakes should international students avoid? So let me give you a little bit of history here. So we have been doing career trajectory workshops around the world using the internet. And we have seen thousands of students go through this program. And we know that both US and international students actually make the same kind of mistakes. And so rather than actually talk about them here, what we have done is we have created a separate workshop that you can join and actually make use of understanding what these common mistakes are. Now, typically this workshop has been charged, but what we have done is we have made this workshop free now so that you can actually go out and understand what these mistakes are. And these mistakes are relating to all kinds of things, from selecting the right major to selecting the right college to actually applying early to planning the timeline for applications, all the way to actually securing financial aid, securing student loans, and even securing scholarships. So it actually deals with a lot of important issues. So you should actually take a look at this free resource. So I'm going to put a link for this free resource in the section below the video. So you should be able to go out and look at the free resource link one and click on it and go to this resource. But I'm also quickly going to show you where this resource is so that you can actually also go out and find it online. So let me actually go there. So if you go to scaleupusa.xyz, that's the career and digital business growth accelerator that I've talked about. If you go there and then you click on to catalog and you go to Study in USA, that's the first one here currently, you will find this whole program, Career Trajectory, Study in USA. Don't make these top 10 mistakes while applying to US colleges or universities, or you might ruin your future career. So this is the program that I'm talking about. This is a completely free program. All you need to do is register and get in. And as I said, it has this mistake number 1, 2, 3, all the way till 10. All of them are free. So make sure you actually take this entire program and also look at this bonus review section so that you will know what these mistakes are. You will not make them. Please do not make these mistakes. They turn out to be very costly for you, the student, as well as your parents, because you will miss out on great colleges, great majors, and ultimately can impact your career. So again, you have the resource is free, the link is below, make use of it. Let's now go to question number 4. And this is a question that I get asked often, not so much by the student themselves, but by their parents. And the question is, should I come to the US for a bachelor's degree or for master's degree? And so we have a really good short resource here which talks about all the issues about coming after 12th grade or your senior year for bachelor's program versus you coming in for master's program, and actually puts out various cases. I'm actually going to provide you that link below. The link is free resource number 2. Remember the word 2 there, and actually go to that link and actually check it out later. But let me try and give you my short summary of that program. Here's what I think. It's in your best interest to come to the US as early as possible, which means after your 12th grade, you can come in for your bachelor's program. If that's not possible because of some reason, for example, financial reasons, or you don't feel comfortable coming to the US when you're so young, you can always come in a little later after you have completed your bachelor's degree in your home country and come in for master's. Again, if master's is not possible, then you can always work for a couple of years and then apply for your Ph.D. or other second master's to come in. So there are all kinds of options. My preference is that you come in as early as possible after your senior year or your 12th grade, because that way you're getting the full educational experience at a bachelor's level. And then, of course, if you want, you can go out and do a master's level degree. And there are other various activities involved in this whole decision making, but that's what I would suggest. So again, the straightforward answer is try to come in for bachelor's if it's possible. If it's not possible, then come in for master's. If that's not possible, work for a couple of years and then come in after your work for either a master's or a PhD program. Either way, it's strongly recommended that you get a US degree, because you will get the specialization and the knowledge that is seldom available anywhere around the world. Now let's go to question number 5. This is a very important question, and lots of students actually ask this question or a variation of that question. And the question is, what if I don't know English well? Can I still, or should I still come to the US? And my blunt answer is, if you do not speak English well, if you cannot write English well, if you cannot understand English well, this is not the time to come to the US. Make sure that you learn English well enough and then come here. If you come to the US without studying English well, you're going to have a difficult time actually going through the educational program, whether it be at a bachelor's level or a master's level. You're going to have difficulty finding a job. You're going to have difficulty creating a career here. I know there are students who have done it, but it puts a lot of pressure on them. They may have to extend their bachelor's program from 4 years to 5 years to 6 years. It costs a lot of money. So the simplest way to do this is wait for a year or so, practice, get your English going well, and then come to the US. So do not come to the US if you're not confident about your English, whether it's speaking, writing, or understanding. Let's now tackle question number 6. And this again is a question mostly asked by parents around the world, but I want to actually address this because this is a very important question. And the question is, what amount should I budget for US studies? Now, this is a very tricky question because here's the issue. If you go to any college website, they will list down the cost of doing education there. But here's the trick that you need to understand. Most students will not pay that list price. Most students will pay what's called the net price, which is substantially lower. And so you need to first understand that. Otherwise, you might land up paying the list price, and that could be substantially more than what an average student pays. The second thing you need to understand, what is the net price of that particular college or university? And there are ways you can find that out. And in our Career Trajectory Premium program, we discuss that in depth. So the answer to this question is that you should budget for what is the net price for that particular college or university. And you should actually look at what data that college is sending about financial aid and other responsibilities to the US federal government, because that way you'll get a better understanding of what that net price is, how many students are getting financial aid, what kind of financial aid is coming in. There are lots and lots of issues relating to this. I should also note that there are 4,500 universities in US. We always recommend that you go to the top 300 or so because the education there is exceptional. In these top 300 universities, there is a wide variation of the budget required for completing studies there. There are universities where you can actually get 1 year done as low as $20,000. And then there are universities where you might spend $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 per year. So again, there's a wide variation on budgets that are required. There's a lot of discussion and planning that needs to happen here. That is what I would suggest, that you look at the free resource number 3, and then also check out the Career Trajectories Premium program. Let's now go to question number 7. And this is an important question. We get a number of these kind of questions from international students. And essentially, they are really around the line of, what if I don't have enough money? Will you fund me, or will somebody else fund me, or how do I get there, or can you give me some money? Those kind of questions keep on coming. And so what we have done is we have a free resource number 4, that's linked below. So you should actually take a look at it. But here's my summary of what I would like to tell you here. You absolutely would need to show that you have enough funds to study in the US, without which you will not get a US student visa. That's the F1 visa. So you need to find the money somewhere. Now, if you need to find the money somewhere, there are a couple of different places you can get the money. If your educational career is really, really good, then the chances are that the US university might provide you a full financial aid, and actually you might be able to do education completely free. That's what I got. I got a full financial aid, and I studied in US entirely free. That could be a possibility, but you would need to have good grades, and you would need to convince the university that you are really, really great. If you need to know how to do it, check out the premium program that goes through step by step. That's the Career Trajectories Premium program. Now, if you're not that good a student, then you may need to go out and hunt for scholarships that other private parties may give. We have got a list of those kind of private parties on the Career Trajectories Premium section. You will have to do the search, you will have to do the research, you will have to contact them, you would have to apply to them, and you would like to actually get some scholarship from them. So that's entirely possible. The third thing you can do is you can actually take a loan from your home country. Now, when you're taking a loan, you want to be careful. There's a lot of discussion about what kind of loan you take and what kind of interest amount you need to pay, because if you take too large a loan at too high an interest amount, you might have difficulty paying it back even after you complete your education. So again, that's a possibility. The fourth thing that you can do is you can actually go out and ask for a loan from US, which might be substantially cheaper. But the only way you're going to get a US loan for study in US is if you have a US cone loan cosigner. So somebody, either your relative or your family friend or somebody, decides to cosign your loan in US, then you might be able to get a US loan, and you might be able to do something much cheaper than in your home country. So there are a number of possibilities here, but just don't go around asking people for money. That's not how you make this. You need to have a strategy for finding enough funds. Again, I would suggest that you look at the free resource number 4, and then you should also look at the career trajectories premium section about funding, because those are the sections that you will need to actually figure out how you can come to the US and actually have enough funds. Let's now address a very important question, question number 8. Should I seek a local education consultant? What we have seen is, especially in international countries, people are not confident that they can actually go out and make their application for admission and financial aid themselves. So they try to seek out a local education consultant who claims to be an expert in helping people get to the US. And they talk about all the successes they have had, they talk about all the students that they have sent, all kinds of details are sent. And a number of parents and students we have seen actually fall prey to this and actually join up with that education consultant. Now, I must tell you, there are a few really great education consultants that are available in US and around the world, but they are extremely costly. So the chances are that if you have a local education consultant who is reasonably priced, the chances are he or she is getting money from some other source. And there's a whole lot of discussion we have on this topic in the free resource number 5. I absolutely will urge you to actually go out and look at this discussion, because if you get the wrong local education consultant, A, you probably may not get admission or financial aid. B, you might actually apply to the wrong college and the wrong major. C, may actually pay out much more than what you need to. And so what you need to understand is, when you select an education consultant, the chances are that you will not do your own research. They will tell you or push you in a particular university which is beneficial to their business, not so much to your career. That's why I strongly avoid actually sending people to local education consultants. The way we like to do it in the career trajectory program is that we put out all the facts. We tell you how to select the university. We tell you how to select the major. We tell you how to go out and apply successfully. We walk you through step by step by step. But we actually encourage you to take control of your career and actually go out and build your education plan. If you actually did it through an education consultant, typically they will have their preferred colleges, they'll have their preferred majors, they'll have a preferred way of doing it, and they would like to do it because it's best for their business, not for your success. So I would urge that unless you're absolutely confident that that local education consultant is a good one, I would suggest you follow something like what Career Trajectory is proposing, because A, it's much, much cheaper. You will understand what you're doing. You'll get a lot of confidence in what you're doing. You will actually be able to better assimilate in US when you get in there, because you would have done the research. You will understand how to do the research. And one last thing, folks, when you come to the US is a place where you actually build your career yourself. You have to be a self-made person to actually become successful in US. And that's why you need to start actually by actually applying to US colleges and universities, by you doing the research, you strategizing, you planning, with a little bit of help from Career Trajectory, versus somebody actually spoon feeding the way, or worse off, actually doing the work for you. And in which case you could actually land up into major admission scandals like some of the ones which are actually taking place in US now. Again, so the final summary, my suggestion is to not go with a local education consultant. Do your research, work with the program like ScaleUp USA, which is having this career trajectory program, which is online, which is very cheap, and you can actually use that and actually work your way to finding the best fit college, the best fit major, the best fit university at a reasonable price, and you're actually absolutely sure now that you have done the right thing. That's what I would suggest. Let's now tackle question number 9. This is a very important question, folks, so pay special attention. And the question is, how do I secure admission and financial aid in US universities, especially the top US universities? Now, I want to start this particular question with a word of caution. What we have seen a number of times is that students make a terrible mistake. They go on the internet, they read an article here, they read an article there, they see a video here, they see a video there, and they think they have learned enough and they go out and apply to US colleges for admission and financial aid. And what they more than happens is that they make mistakes. And those mistakes turn out to be extremely costly. It's costly because sometimes they don't get the admission and financial aid at the right universities. Sometimes they pay much more. Sometimes they actually select the wrong university. Sometimes they go to the wrong geography. And that's happening because a number of these free internet resources are really not up to par. They're written by people who probably have never studied in US or do not understand the entire process, have not kept themselves updated. Or they're journalists who talk here, talk there, interview a couple of people and write some articles. You need specialized help when you're going out and making your career decision. Remember, if you're going to study in US, that's a major career decision. You get it right, you're going to be highly successful in life. You get it wrong, you're going to be paying rest of the life. That is why this becomes an important factor. One of the things which I will tell you is if you're going to just depend on YouTube videos to try and understand how you're going to do admission and financial aid, you're probably not going to get the full story. There are lots and lots of YouTube videos available. Many of them have lots and lots of views. I want to caution you, just because a particular video has a lot of views does not mean it has the most accurate information. And just because a particular video on YouTube has low views does not mean that it has inaccurate or insufficient information. What you need to understand is to actually find out who has actually developed this video. What is the person's qualifications in developing the video? Has that person actually developed, studied in US? Has that person actually been successful in life? Those are the kind of criteria you would have to look at. Now, what we are doing is we are putting out a series of videos on YouTube. And as you can see, they're fairly in-depth. There's no fluff in it. And then we have the premium resource, which is the Career Trajectories Premium Resource, which is highly valued, which is getting very popular around the world. That's what you need to look at if you want to go out and do this step by step. Now, of course, your choice could be that you could actually have an education consultant. There are some highly qualified education consultants, but those typically cost more than a couple of $100 an hour. So it turns out to become very costly if you're going to go out and take their resources. It could cost you $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a year. That is very, very costly, probably not affordable for most international students. That is why we have come up with this career trajectory program, which is really in between a free resource and the very costly resource. That's what we have done. That's what you should check out. So here's what I would suggest. Check out the YouTube videos if you want to get some guidance. But if you're actually going to be serious about getting into top universities, then go out and register for Career Trajectories Premium Program. I will also suggest that you go out and check out the free resource that we have mentioned here. That's resource number 6. So all in all, that's my advice. It's possible to get into, top US colleges for admission and financial aid if you have the right strategy, you have the right plan, you have the right process, and then you have the right resources that can actually guide you throughout that process. That's what we intend to do on Career Trajectory. That's what we would like you to do. Now let's go to question number 10. This is a very important question, folks. This question, the answer to this question can make or break your career. So pay special attention. And the question is, how do I select the best fit colleges to apply for admission and financial aid in US? Now here's the problem. There are over 4,000 universities and colleges in US. The top 300 or so are rated at national level. That's what we recommend that you should go out and select and apply. But even within those 300, there's a wide variety in costs and the majors and the geography and the demographics of where these colleges are at. And so you need to select the right and the best fit colleges so that you can be successful. For that, you need a proper process, a structured process, good resources that you can research and do it. Now, in most cases, this kind of information is not easily available on the internet. So what students end up doing is go out and select some colleges based on what their friends told them or their professors told them or some haphazard manner, that is not really going about selecting the best fit colleges. And if you don't select the best fit colleges, a couple of things can happen. You might join some of the costlier colleges and pay full price. So you might end up paying 10, 20, 50, $100,000 more for a college than what you should have. You might actually do the wrong major that may not have a lot of future. You might actually do studies in the wrong college where you might not get the right job. So there are so many problems that can actually be achieved if you actually don't go out and select the right kind of college and university. So this process is difficult. This process is difficult because anyone can select some colleges to apply, but the question is, are they the best fit college for you? So here's what I would suggest. We have a free resource here, resource number 7. Check it out because that will give you some level of guidance. And then if you really want proper guidance, step-by-step guidance, what I would suggest is go out and check out the Career Trajectories Premium Program. That's the only affordable online self-paced digital program that you can access anywhere in the world. And as I said, thousands of students around the world are actually registering onto the career trajectory programs and platforms and content and actually using it. You should too. That's what I would suggest. Throughout this program, we have discussed a number of very important issues. We have also pointed you to free resources, the links of which are actually in the video below in the notes section of YouTube. Now, during this program, I've also discussed something called Career Trajectories Premium Program. We have referred to that often. You might be wondering, what is it and where do I access that? So I want to actually close this program by actually pointing you to that resource because this is the top of the line resource available anywhere in the world if you are actually looking at going for study in USA. And the most important part about this program is that this premium program is very affordable in US and internationally. So that's what I would recommend if you are serious about coming to the US and actually joining top US universities for admission and financial aid. So how do you get there? You can get there by entering this URL that's written here. I'm not going to repeat it. You can just read it and enter it on your browser and you'll come there. Or you can actually come to the browser link itself and you can enter scaleupusa.xyz. That is the link where the accelerator is. This is the digital accelerator that we have, and in that digital accelerator we have this career trajectory premium program. So if you actually click on career trajectory, it's going to come to this program. As you can see, it's a paid program because it's a premium program. So I would encourage you to join it if you are serious about coming to the US. This couple of $100 is going to save you tens of thousands of dollars when you actually come to the US, and you have a significant chance of being successful than what you can do without this program. So it's a highly recommended program that we would encourage you to join. Again, there are ways to join it. You can join it on a month-to-month basis or on a yearly basis. Here's the detailed curriculum. I'm not going to walk you through this. You can actually walk through this entire curriculum. These are a set of videos and documents that are very, very important. Now, one thing that I will mention about this program, this is a live program. What do I mean by live program? This is a self-paced digital program available anywhere on the internet using your desktop or laptop or tablet. But what we are doing is we take questions from students and we actually add new videos and put them on. So this program keeps on growing based on questions that the students have. That's what we are doing. And we are regularly adding workshops, which are also very, very helpful. So you will find this program very affordable, very helpful. And that's what I would suggest you should join if you're wanting to be successful. Then I would suggest you join it as soon as possible, because the earlier you join, the more prepared you get. The more prepared you get, the better college and university you get, and potentially get financial aid. So all in all, it can save you tens of thousands of dollars. So that's what I would suggest. With that, all the best. See you in the US.